All right, I think we are recording. Hi there, everybody. This is Jacob Tucker. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get an example Dapp running on your computer that is actually hooked up to the Hyperverse. So the module that we're going to be using today is the Tribes module on the Flow blockchain. And so there's a lot there, and we're going to be diving into all of that and explaining what all of that is. So to start off with this video, I am at docs.hyperverse.dev. And I clicked on the environment setup page on the left-hand side here. And what this is going to do is run us through how to get an example Dapp running on our computer. And I'm going to be doing that with you in this video. So the first things you're going to need are, the system requirements right here are Visual Studio Code or any IDE for editing JavaScript, Git, Node.js above or equal to 14.0.0, and Yarn, because we're going to be Yarn installing a bunch of dependencies in a second here. So the first thing we're going to do is actually go to this line right here and copy this line. Now, what this is going to do when we paste this into our terminal is this is going to clone the repository that contains all of the example Dapps and Hyperverse modules all in one repository. And we're going to be using one of those example Dapps in this video, which we're going to dive into in a bit. So let me go ahead and copy that line up here. And as you can see, that's going to clone this onto my computer. So awesome. Now let's go ahead and scroll down a bit more to choose your module. So the reason that this section is coming up, the choose your module part, is because, like I said before, there's a lot of different example Dapps that we can run that are in this Hyperverse model that we have already set up for you. The one we're going to be using today is the Tribes module on the Flow blockchain. So we're going to be doing the Flow example. So let's go ahead and copy this line and paste that into our terminal. And what that's going to do is put us into the Tribes folder where we can yarn, so type in yarn, the dependencies, and that's going to install all the dependencies for us so that we can run our Next.js app in a bit. So before we actually, start our Next.js app, let's go over to the left-hand side here and click on Tribes. So use modules and then Tribes, and we can read this little description of what the Tribes module actually is. So just to read it aloud, Tribes allows you to create communities that people can join, leave, or create. These tribes can be anything at all, like teams, animals, anime characters, hobbies, or interests. And it shows you some steps below, but the steps below are for Ethereum right now, and so that's why I'm making this flow video for you. So after about 30 seconds to a minute, it should yarn install the dependencies, and once that happens, we can yarn dev our project. And like I was mentioning before, that's going to launch the Next.js application that is hooked up to the Hyperverse and uses the Tribes module. So let's go ahead and go back to our environment setup page and make sure we're following the steps. So we just yarned dev, and now we can open localhost 3000. So let's go to localhost 3000. Boom. And here we are. So it shows some simple stuff. So Tribes, a sample Dapp on the Hyperverse in which you can join and leave your favorite tribes. And this is all in the Flow blockchain. Awesome. So there's a few things here. There's an about page. There's a connect wallet page. In order to really get started, we're going to have to connect our wallet. So what is a wallet, I guess, in the blockchain world? Well, you can think of a wallet almost like your regular Web2 auth. So this is like logging in with your username and password, except instead of having to store usernames and passwords in a database, it's actually all on chain and handled for us by wallet providers. So when we click on Connect Wallet here, it's going to launch a Blockdo prompt. Now, what Blockdo is it's a wallet provider for the Flow blockchain so that it handles a lot of your sensitive information for you. So on the blockchain, instead of a username and password, you have something called a public and private key. Now, a private key you should never share with anybody, but Blockdo handles all of it for you, which is really easy. So all we have to do, whether you've created an account before or not, is type in an email address. So I'm going to type in my email address. Awesome. And I'm going to click sign in. And so what I'm going to do is actually go to my phone and go to my email, because it's going to send you an email with the Blockdo code. So I hope that it comes up on my phone quickly so that we're not waiting too long in the video. Okay, so it is coming up. Okay, so it just came up on my phone. Now on your phone, it'll send you the code. And so I'm going to type in the code right now. So 963-686. And if you type in the right code, it's going to prepare your account and give you all this information. So if I press confirm here, you'll notice that it actually displays my address in the top right. And so that's like my on-chain identity. Cool. So now we can actually start joining and leaving tribes. So let's go to join a tribe here. And if we go to join a tribe, it's going to come up with a few options for me to join. So in this case, Alchemist and Healer, because it's very gamified, right? It's fun. Now, it's important to note that this is one example application on the Hyperverse. If you can imagine somewhere down the road where you create your own application or your own Dapp that hooks up to the tribes module on the Hyperverse, you could have your own state, right? Because you'll have your own quote unquote tenant, and each tenant has its own state. So if in somewhere down the road, you could have your own tribes here, but this is all hooked up to one tenant here with this state. And so if we wanted to, let's go ahead and join the Healer tribe because I think it's pretty cool. It's going to say joining a tribe, please wait. And it's going to come up with the blocked out prompt again. Now, the reason for this is because we're going to be modifying the state of the blockchain. And the reason for that is because all of this information is stored on chain in something called the smart contract. Now, in order to modify what's in that smart contract, we have to run a transaction on behalf of our account. And to do that, we have to click this approve button and say, you know what, I'm going to sign this transaction because I approve of it and it's okay for you to join the tribe for me. And you can even see the transaction code if you open up this little prompt right here with the parameters up top. So you can notice even in the arguments, that's my address and we're joining the Healers tribe. So if we click approve, that's going to send the transaction to the blockchain. And it's going to say, you know, please wait. And the reason for that is because it's taking the modified state and committing it to the blockchain right now. Now, this is all happening on testnet. There's also a mainnet, but we're not doing this on mainnet because that has like real gas costs and stuff like that involved, which are basically like fees you have to pay for modifying the blockchain. Anyway, we joined the tribe and now we're in the Healers tribe. And there's the cool image. There's the title, Healers, and it's a tribe of healers, right? So right here. Woohoo, we did it. So that's really what I wanted to show you in this video on the front end, but it also would be cool, right, if we looked at some of the code. So how is this Dapp actually hooked up to the Hyperverse? Well, let me go ahead and show you. So if we open up our code here, we can navigate to the pages folder and click on _app.tsx. And this is where we are wrapping our application in something called a Hyperverse provider. Now, in order to actually hook up your Dapp to the Hyperverse, there's very few steps needed. We need to import some stuff from the Hyperverse, and then we need to hook our application up to the Hyperverse, and that is it. So you can see it's not that much code at all. So what we've done here is we've imported the Hyperverse from Decentology/Hyperverse, and that's just going to allow our application to actually hook up to it. Then we've imported Flow from Hyperverse Flow, and that's saying because we want to be on the Flow blockchain. And then we've imported the tribes module from Hyperverse Flow tribes, and that's because we're using the tribes module. Now, you can imagine if I was to take this and wanted to add a bunch of more modules, I could do that just as simply as that. And like, let's say import NFT, right, from NFT. But that's not out yet, so we're not gonna do that for now. But you get the point. Then to actually hook up our application, we say const hyperverse equals hyperverse.initialize. So we're initializing the Hyperverse. The blockchain we're using is Flow. We're on networks.testnet, and the modules we're using is the tribes module with this tenant ID. Now remember, in your own application later down the road, if you wanted to hook up to the Hyperverse, you would theoretically have your own tenant ID, that's your address, with your own state, your own tribes, all that kind of stuff. But we're all going to be using this same tenant ID, so that's what you're going to be using as well. And then we go ahead and we wrap our app inside hyperverse.provider, and we pass in this Hyperverse as the attribute here. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and look at an example of how we actually run transactions on the blockchain in our JavaScript code without having to write any blockchain code whatsoever. So this is the page that displays all the tribes. And what we can do is look at this function right here. So const join a tribe. Now there's a lot of code here, but just stick with me for a second. So const join a tribe. Now in here, some stuff is happening. When we click the button to join a tribe, it's going to run this function. It's going to set the loading to true. It's going to display a message, all that jazz. But the important part here that's actually blockchain related is this line, line 32, that says await tribes.join tribe with the tribe name, right? And that's going to join your account to this tribe name that you pass in. Now you'll notice this isn't blockchain code at all. This is a simple JavaScript function call. And that's because, that's where the real value of the Hyperverse comes in, is you don't have to write any blockchain code at all. You'll see that up top here, we imported use tribes from hyperverse/flow/tribes. And then down here, on line 17, we say const tribes equals use tribes. So that's because we're using this module. And this tribes variable right here, this constant, this has all of the functions we'll need to interact with this module, aka joining a tribe, leaving a tribe, all that kind of stuff. And so we simply say tribes.join tribe and then the tribe name. Now, you'll notice that because we did this all in TypeScript, which I actually had to learn a lot about, you can see if you hover over this, you can even see all the different functions you can call. So join tribe, get all the tribes, leave tribe. So all that cool stuff. And so that will run the blockchain transaction for you without you having to write any blockchain code whatsoever. And then we, do a bunch of more JavaScript stuff down here. We stop the loading. We go to the My Tribe page because they're in the tribe now, all that stuff. So one other thing I'd like to mention is what if we wanted to talk about, for example, this account handling? How do we handle accounts? Well, if we go to components and go to the nav section, if we scroll down here, you'll see that we're handling a lot of stuff with the user's account. So flow.user, we're checking if they're logged in. If not, then what we can do is call flow.authenticate, which actually authenticates you to that load up that blocked out prompt. And we can see that right here. So if we go to log out and we go to connect wallet again, right there, when I click that button, that ran this right here, flow.authenticate. And again, there's a lot of blockchain stuff involved, but you don't have to worry at all about that because we import use flow from Hyperverse flow. And then we simply say let flow equals use flow, and then we can access all the user data from this variable right here. So that's what I wanted to show you in this video. If you have any questions, definitely run through this environment setup page. But what I would recommend is going to the community tab and joining our Discord, messaging us on Twitter, DMing us on socials, commenting on this YouTube video, anything that would help you out. That would be great. So we would love to talk to you and see you there. So thanks so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.